You know when you drop a gnarly turd at your throne and you feel Poseidon's kiss? Of course you do. We're going to figure out which turds create the kiss and how to avoid it and how to make it happen more often if you're into that sort of thing. There are three main variables we need to investigate: turd shape, turd size, and drop height. From my experience, there are three main turd shapes: pebble, nugget, and froyo. I'm calling these long ones froyo because your rump probably looks like this when it's delivering that turd. I did some research and it turns out there are more official shapes, but they seem to be variations of the main ones I mentioned, plus a couple of nasty types if you're sick, which are gross, so I'm going to ignore those. I made one light and one heavy sample for each turd shape for a total of 6 samples. The butt to toilet water distance is approximately 6 inches. It might look like more than 6 inches, but remember that your butt goes a little lower than the toilet seat when you're sitting on it. I'm going to put some toilet paper across the toilet I'm trying to put some toilet paper across the toilet at butt height to capture any splashes. Time to drop the first sample. The small pebble barely splashed the toilet paper, but it also splashed the toilet seat, so the splash went quite high. Major splashes from the larger pebble. This one was a little harder to see, but the toilet paper and the toilet seat got splashed a little. I fished them out of the toilet to run more trials. And yes, I didn't have the foresight to buy disposable gloves, so I'm using a plastic bag. The large froyo sample was so long that I couldn't drop it, so there was no splash. It looks like pebble-shaped turds are the most likely to cause a splash. I guess being constipated wasn't punishment enough. I wanted to see what would happen if I made an even smaller pebble turd. It did not splash the toilet paper, and I think it's because it didn't have enough force when it was hitting the water to create a large splash. Both froyo samples did not splash, and I think it's because they were both so long that they had a substantially lower drop height than the other samples. This shows us a way we can avoid the splash: just crap out longer turds. I wanted to see what would happen if I dropped turds from a higher drop height. None of them splashed my hand, but they did splash the toilet and the floor, so if you tried pooping while standing, you might splash your legs. Not the best way to avoid a splash. Fortunately, Destin from Smarter Everyday figured out a solution years ago.
What can we do to eliminate this? The answer is vary the surface tension. All you have to do is grab a piece of toilet paper that's already in the bathroom with you and lay it on the surface.
Destin also explains that poop splashes come from what's called a Worthington jet. If you'd like to learn more about that, you should watch his video, which is in the description.